Hello and welcome to Perspectives. The government is beginning to take shape, take form. Alliances are becoming visible, which is good. Alliances are important. Affiliations are important. Pakistan and Pakistan's democracy is at a stage of evolution where alliances and affiliations are much better than differences in opposition. We can be in opposition during elections, but past election, I think we all have to now come together for a single cause, a single purpose, which is Pakistan. If we don't, if we spend another 5 years bickering and fighting and trying to pull each other's leg, we will not get anywhere. So I personally feel it's very crucial and important for everyone. And when I say everyone, I include the citizens of Pakistan to rise above election differences and just focus on the challenges that we face. And what are the challenges? That's what I'd like to identify today. On my right, editor, the news, Mr. Amir. Thank you very much, sir, for taking time out coming here. On my left, representing Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, my dear friend, Mr. Samar. Samar, thank you very much for being here. In Islamabad, joining us, representing Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz Group, the party forming the government, Mr. Miftah Ismail, and representing Pakistan People's Party, Ms. Nafeesa Shah. I thank both of you for taking time out coming here. Miftah, I'd like to start with you. Since your party now, Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz Group, has interestingly, for the first time, any political party of Pakistan has done a lot of homework, and I feel that there's a lot of technical homework, there's a lot of scientific planning which has gone into this planning. So, what do you feel are the challenges that your government will be facing, say, in the first quarter or the first 4 months?
Thank you, Faisal. The challenges are the same as we talked about in the campaign, which is to say that, look, we have to put the law and order situation in this country right, or try to do so. Yeah. We have to put the economy on an even keel, and most importantly, we have to solve the law and order issue. The load shedding issue in Pakistan. And we've methodically prepared plans to solve the load shedding issue. It's going to take some time, but you will see difference. First month, you will see a little better. Second month, and in the first 3 months, you will be able to see the direction in which we are moving, where we will try and minimize circular debt. We will try to minimize the power sector deficit and increase generation, and then try and bring in new generation. So that would be the power sector thing. Once we take care of the power sector thing, the economy then, I think, becomes relatively easy, because of much of the problem with the economy right now is because of the power crisis. Then, of course, the law and order is a different challenge. Then here, there's an interesting situation, because we are in the federal government, but the two provinces which are worst affected because of the law and order issues, Sindh and KP, are all in People's Party and Tehreek-e-Insaf. So there we'll have to obviously work together with both these parties who have mandates from their regions, and then try and solve the law and order issue. So these are the three main things.
If I may interrupt here, you said in the first few months that your position will start becoming more visible. A lot of people have also criticized, and in fact, Mr. Raza Rabbani did a press conference the other day, and he was also criticizing that the promises that you made and the criticism that you gave to Pakistan People's Party government is exactly what you're backing out on now. So I'd like you to comment on that. And when you said law and order, you said two provinces, and then you mentioned Sindh and, to my surprise, KPK. What about Balochistan? That has been a severe flashpoint for the past couple of years. So I would like to hear your opinion on that as well.
First of all, before I forget, let me congratulate Samar Khan, who's a good friend of mine, for winning the provincial assembly seat in Karachi. I was referring to the fact that these two provinces are governed by other parties and not by us. That's why I didn't think, or I didn't say that Balochistan was, all peace and quiet. Obviously, there are issues in Balochistan with the insurgency and missing persons and whatnot. But we have a share in the government, although Mian Saab yesterday, I think very graciously and in a very statesman-like manner, gave the chief ministership to National Party and the governorship to Pakhtunkhwa Amir Party. And I think that's going to have a very significant impact on the insurgency in Balochistan, and I hope that the tide in Balochistan turns towards greater national integration. But that said, I mean, I only refer to Sindh and KP because they are different parties governing. I wasn't trying to say that they were worse off than Balochistan, no.
And what about the criticism that you're receiving that you're backing out on the promises that you made? Now you're saying, well, we will have to see electricity will take a couple of years and we will, things will become visible. But during electioneering, which is really the way electioneering is done, promises are very solid. After election, the promises become kind of fluid. Please.
No. Actually, you will see, I'm saying actually from this first month, and we never promised this during election campaign, but during this first month of our governance, inshallah ta'ala, you will see that we will actually increase the generation of electricity in Pakistan, and this tripling load shedding, which is really like devastating, businesses across Pakistan, we will try and bring this tripling load shedding to a manageable level, or at least somewhat of a manageable level. So you will see this the very first month. We are not at all backing away. You will see, what I was trying to say is that within the first 3 months, our direction will be obvious to everybody. Everyone can see that this is how we will try and get rid of circular debt. This is how we'll increase generation. This is how we'll bring new generation. So the people of Pakistan will know right away, right in the first quarter, that this is the plan that Muslim League has. Muslim League will have laid out this plan, and this is how we are going to solve the load shedding issue. This is not going to happen that for 3 years we'll have tripling load shedding and then one day you wake up and there is no load shedding. That's not how it happens. We will obviously try and reduce load shedding every day, every month, every year, and so that, progressively this will be controlled in 3 years. Mian Sahab had talked about this fact because there was a lot of advertisements from some political commercials from some political parties and making these things into a political issue. So we were just saying that, okay, fine, don't hold us to a particular time period, although in our manifesto we said that we expect this to be solved in 3 years, and we still do expect that to be solved in 3.5 years.
Okay. Ms. Shah, your party has been, there were press conferences, and you're saying that the promises or the things you were criticized for are exactly what PML-N is backing out on. How would you comment?
I think that's a very correct assessment of what we have been saying. I'll just give you 2 examples. That when we were on the Treasury benches, we were constantly asked about, for instance, about General Musharraf and about us not implicating him in Article 6. Now, we would like to ask the same question to the new Treasury benches, because they are the ones who were very interested. They did not believe in our policy of reconciliation. They wanted to, settle their scores with General Musharraf for whatever reason, and they took a very, very strong position, a hard-hitting position on punishing him for his suspending the Constitution and for dismissing the judges and so on. Now we would like to have their take, now that they're in the Treasury benches and now that they can initiate proceedings of Article 6, we would like to know whether they are actually going to stick to their words. Similarly, on the drone attacks, throughout when they were on the opposition benches, constantly hard-hitting speeches, one after another, volleying at us, attacking us about not being able to check the drone attacks. And our position was that this is a very serious issue. We are against the drones, but we have to take it up diplomatically. And you know what? Just maybe a day before they formed their government, this is exactly the position that they're taking now, that they'll take it up diplomatically, that this is a very complicated issue. And same is the case for power generation. The solutions that they have, we know that these are the solutions that we had as well. The difference is implementation. We are going to, of course, we were able to implement in terms of diversifying. We initiated the Tharkol project, we initiated Bhasha Dam, we looked at a lot of water reservoirs, alternate energy, solar energy and hydro energy, and then wind energy. We, in fact, even started one project in Jhimpir and Thatta on wind energy. So there a lot of initiatives have been taken by our government, and maybe they'll bear fruit when they are halfway down theirs. So again, the solutions that they have is no rocket science. This is the solutions that we had. And definitely the challenge was enormous. The challenge was great. And I wish them all luck. But then it would be good to see them on the side that we were at, so that we can tell them that, look, you're not coming up with something completely new or something inventive, that we are basically on the same track.
Okay.
And,
you mentioned two things. One, Samar, I'd like to come to you. One was General Ziaul. Frankly, Pakistan, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, Amir, and I'd like to come to you in just 1 second. That's whatever. Who cares? But what we really care about are the promises which were in essence the core of our society: drone attack, terrorism, law and order. You had a strong position as well. You were doing dharnas 2 years ago, and you were really going gung-ho about it. So you are part of the government, even if it's a small part, but you are a part of the government. What's your position now? Will these oppositions and dharnas continue about the drone attack? Because America has said clearly, right.
Well, listen, we are faced with two problems.
Okay.
There's a bigger picture where there's the drone attacks, and there's India, there's America, there's all the whole world out there. Mm-hmm. And then there's the issues about the human being, the humane level, where people's suffering is an issue. And in my opinion, sorry?
Suffering because of? What are you referring
to? Well, there's suffering. Generally, there is the economy.
Okay.
Taken
I thought you were talking about suffering because of the drone.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
So there's the bigger picture.
Okay.
There's the more focused issue for me and for the party is to serve the people. Right. And right now, the suffering. So yes, all have to be tackled, definitely. But I think we are leaving it to the National Assembly, to the central government to tackle certain problems. On the
Which
provincial
would be
level,
the bigger picture.
That's the bigger picture.
But if I may, with apology, interject,
sure.
You did not give that leverage to the previous government.
Oh, listen.
You had your hands on the collar.
As a group that was vying for power and ensuring that we were heard, we were voicing out the issues that were there, whether it was the drone, or whether it was the Mengai, or whether it was the economy, or whether it was our relationship with India. So there's so much going on. We as a movement are really here now, and right now we're positioned in the opposition to the wrong. Sure. I personally will tell you, I'll support. I'm not in the opposition. I'm here to support anything that is friendly, Pakistan friendly,
of course,
which is people friendly.
Absolutely.
I am in the opposition for anything which is not. So I think we are now getting focused on where do we have to focus our energy. On the local front, I can go on and on and on.
But don't you think that'd be a great disappointment to your fan following? That you said that while we were vying for power, we were taking certain stands in the bigger picture, but now that we are in some kind of power, well, I'll leave that to the central government.
Never. While now we are now leaving it to the legislators on the national front to handle certain issues, I am focused on the provincial level.
When you say I mean
it's PTI. No,
PTI,
this is PTI. We are focused. We now have a 90-day plan. We go by the 90-day plan. I want to have portable drinking water for the people. Now, tell me, there is a Karbala out there. There is no water. Can you imagine living in the 21st century here? Our people are suffering due to shortages of water where there's no drinking water. We are going to give them mineral water. We run Sasta Tandoor. We'll run Sasta Pani. That's the next project.
When you say you'll give them mineral water, you're saying you'll give them bottled water?
Mineral water, yes. To drink.
You mean filtered water or mineral water?
No, mineral water.
And where will we get this mineral water?
Well, that's the magic we have. We've got the magic wand, which is brain and intent. We can promise anything we want. Okay. The problem here is the intent is lacking. I mean, yes, we are going to solve the energy problem. Yes, of course, we're going to solve the drone problem. Yes, we've done this and done that. But listen, there's no intent. There's no law and order here. Karachi is dying. It's dying. The economy is down. The industry is down. Commerce is down. Karachi is the heart and the heartbeat of the nation. And look at the condition we're in. I mean, it's so sad.
The reason I'm kind of confused, and I need to, I have a couple of minutes. I think I'd like to start with you, and then I have a 3 minutes break, and we'll take a break. Amir, are you satisfied with this? And also, as not a journalist, as a Pakistani, just about everyone other than People's Party have said that we made those promises, but No, I'm sorry, Miftah did not say that. But generally, the promises are made, big promises, and then focuses shift.
So as a Pakistani, as a journalist, I mean, if you allow me, like Alice in the Wonderland, I would like to begin from the beginning. And the initial question which you raised was, what are the challenges?
Sure.
And everyone has touched upon that. And I'll be, stating the obvious, but with a twist. The twist is that my friend from Pakistan Muslim League, Nawaz, he has mentioned that law and order situation. Mr. Ismail has mentioned that. So let's call it that. What is the law and order situation? It is the challenge of extremism. It is the challenge of terrorism. It is the challenge of militancy, or what we face. And it is also the challenge of how the rate of the state has eroded. So if we put that in perspective. And the second challenge, of course, is economy. And if we want to fix economy, we have to address the challenge of extremism and terrorism.
Which is the environment.
Which is the environment. And I think all the political parties are saying this, accepting this, saying that, I mean, in vague terms, that it's a law and order problem. And Mr. Samar is also mentioning that, in reference to Karachi. But let's see what solution these political parties are offering. What is the popular narrative? Now everybody is talking from PTI to PML-N that the only solution is to talk to those militants. And that is the popular narrative which we see. And that thing is in vogue now. But nobody is bothering to define the parameters of those talks. And I'm still to hear from any of the sides, what are the parameters? Because if you are engaging Taliban, if you are engaging Al-Qaeda-inspired militants who are supporting those people, the Chechens, the Uzbeks, the Arabs, all those who have, gathered in our territory, and they are using Pakistani territory to stage terror attacks, not just in Pakistan, but also abroad. So we have to hear what you have to offer, what the government is going to offer when it goes into negotiations with them. I mean, are you going for the policy of appeasement? That is my question. My question as a journalist and as a Pakistani, that yes, I mean, it's an easy solution that yes, we'll talk, it looks good, it's a feel-good feeling. But when the state negotiates and it concedes to the militants, the non-state actors, we are the ultimate sufferers. And the biggest tragedy of Pakistan is that the state has abandoned many of its roles, and it failed to establish the writ of the state in its own territory. And all the issues like drone attacks, the economy, they are linked to this basic question.
Okay. I need to take a very short break, and I think Amir has very, very categorically and directly put the question forth, and I'd like to open the floor with all three guests with this answer. Let's take a short break first. Staying with us, watching Perspectives, Mr. Amir Zia asked a very direct question. I think it's going to take a lot of time to get the answer. I won't waste any time. Miftah, what's your answer to Amir Zia's question?
Well, I mean, he asked about Amir Bhai asked about defining parameters. I can't really negotiate with Faisal Qureshi and Amir Saab or with Nafeesa Shah and Samar for that matter. We have to negotiate with the Taliban. We can't really, I mean, whatever it is that we think that we can, like bargain with them, this is not something that we will talk publicly. This is something that obviously will only happen in closed room, behind closed doors. This is how negotiations happen. And we will negotiate with them. But I think that to come out and lay out this whole thing, that this is what we will offer, this is what we want, this is what we seek, these are the guarantees we seek, this is what the strategies, I think that would be counterproductive. I mean, I don't think anyone would do that. So I can't really spell out the parameters for what sort of negotiation would go on or discussion would go on with Taliban. But we have said that we want to bring this war to an end. It is very important that because 50,000 Pakistanis have died, and it's about time this war ends. I think the Pakistani nation, in their millions, in the election, actually voted for parties that wanted to finish this war. We all want to finish this war, I'm sure. But I think that, today we read in the papers that Taliban had gone to Iran to discuss with Iran. Taliban are already discussing and negotiating with the U.S. They're talking about Afghanistan. So it's about time that we do this thing. In 2014, the U.S. is leaving. Mia Saab has said, for instance, that he wants to talk to all the stakeholders, to the Afghan leadership, to the Americans, to NATO, to other Muslim countries in the region, outside the region, and to Taliban to figure out all the stakeholders want and come to a conclusion and come to an agreement whereby this war, which is killing our kids, which are killing our children, ends.
Okay, Miftah, a quick question. Do you think this is now the time to negotiate or to deal with this problem? Or you think that the previous government wasted time and should have done this a long time ago? Or maybe that was just not the right time?
Look, I mean, you can go in ifs and buts, and God knows. I mean, you can always blame your predecessors for everything. But I mean, let's look forward. Let's not worry about what happened in the past. This is the best time to do it, simply because this is now. And rather than waiting for another 2 attacks to happen or 4 attacks to happen and our people, like kids to die, why not just try and bring this to an end? I don't really see, for instance, that everything will be hunky dory in like a few weeks and everything will be, done away with. I think this is a process but this is a process that we must embark on, and we must challenge the Taliban towards peace. Okay, I mean, these guys have been challenging us to war, and we've been, and other people have been challenging us to war, and we are fighting wars. Let's just challenge every stakeholder to peace and say, why can't we sit together and come up with some peaceful solutions to all this issue?
Okay, I have a more quick comment. This may not be the perfect answer you were looking for, but you like the answer.
No, I would like to disagree. I beg to disagree with Mr. Ismail. I mean, there are reasons. One, the innocent example that the U.S. is negotiating with Taliban. United States is an occupation force, and it can do that. We are fighting in our own territory. So here the position of Pakistan and U.S. is different. One. The second important point, I mean, yes, I understand that the government can be vague about negotiations. But the challenge is that the civilian government and the military establishment, they have to see eye to eye on this key issue. And we see that there is a difference of opinion within barracks and the civilian government.
On what basis do you say that?
Because, I mean, Mr. Kiani, General Kiani, has categorically said not once, twice, thrice in his recent speeches that it is Pakistan's war. We have to take the ownership of this war because we cannot create doubt in the mind of the soldier who is confronting those people. More than 3,700 soldiers have been martyred in this war. I mean, he himself is giving us figures that 50,000 people.
Sure, but if General Kiani said that, Mr. Nawaz Sharif also did not disagree with it.
No, I mean, what he is saying is that we are going to talk. Yes, talk by all means. But again, getting back to the same point, that define the parameters. The parameters are, first of all, ask the question that why this conflict? When I hear from our politicians, the right-wing political parties and the religious parties, it seems that Pakistan army and Pakistani establishment is at fault. They are the ones who initiated this war. No, it is not correct. It is the Al-Qaeda and the Taliban who started it.
Of course.
And why? Why they started it? Because Pakistani demand was very clear that they don't want non-state actors to use Pakistani territory. From there, the conflict started. And Pakistan was following the UN mandate. I mean, any government, if it had been PTI, if it had been PML-N, they would have chosen the same path. So let's not...
The circumstances were such.
Exactly. And so it's time to be intellectually honest. And it's not time to be vague and, we have to be clear.
I'll take you from that. You said it's time to be intellectually honest. And I think what Miftah had said was very honest. And that's why I said, do you like the answer? Even though it may not be something we want to hear, but it was a very intelligent, decent, to the focused answer. So that's why I brought this to you. But you're right, we need to be intellectually honest. Ms. Shah, what would you say to the fact that we need to be intellectually honest? Because you've had 5-year tenure, and things did not get any better in that tenure. So, in all honesty, how do you think we're going to solve this problem?
You see, Pakistan People's Party never ruled out talks. But we were very clear that this is also our war. This is a war that has taken lives of thousands of innocent Pakistanis, men, women, children. Our polio workers are under threat, our social workers are under threat, our government servants are under threat, and our soldiers have lost their lives. So we owned it. and we own the pain of the nation. I was a bit concerned about the statements made in the victory speech and subsequently by Mia Saab. I think, first of all, that their assessment or their assumptions are very simplistic, very naive. I think that this war is extremely. It's not a unipolar war, that there's not one force that you have to dialogue with, that it's the force that we are perhaps talking to. There may be several exterior, forces behind those as well. So I think it's a very simplistic assumption that we have in the past. The past is an example before us. There have been several attempts at negotiations, and each time the Taliban and so many other outfits have not only multiplied, they have come out stronger. The other thing is that Mia Saab came out and just focused on talks and negotiations. I think he should have waited a bit, consulted all the parties, built a national consensus, got the backing of all the political parties, and then come up with a statement. Even if he was categorical about talks, I think it was very important for the national leader to come up with the backing of all the different stakeholders, of all the political parties. And that's something that hasn't happened. So here is a leader coming from the PML-N talking about his own policy, which he now then states as the national policy. And therefore, I think I would agree with Amir there that there are several stakeholders, not political parties. Of course, that our soldiers are at war. They're still in the battlefield. They're losing their lives. And that we have to acknowledge. I want to see Mia Saab speak of the sacrifices given by this nation every day, each day, that we are losing lives, and be on their side. And, and that where action needs to be taken for the sake of the writ of the law, that action must be taken. So, I think it's a very simplistic, and taking the same debate to the PTI. Today, a PTI MPA was attacked and killed.
Yes.
And the day the lawmakers in KPK were taking oath, there was a drone attack. So I want them to come out more clearly, and simply by saying that we are going to shift the burden to the federal legislators and the National Assembly is simply not on.
Okay.
They have to now stick to what they had been standing for. They were against drones. They wanted to, also speak to the militants.
Please.
Well, let me just say first, this is a war which is now a decade old, and we invited war into our territory. Till such time as we didn't have this stake into the Afghan war with the Americans, we didn't have any suicide bombers. We didn't have this quality of terrorism here. We invited it in by pitching ourselves with, as Cambodia did, probably, or we were used as Cambodia to go and then go assist the occupying force, as you said, the occupiers. Now, look where we are now. After a whole decade of so many people dying, 5,000 people, the country is in a state of disintegration just about. If you go into the frontier, you go into Balochistan, you go anywhere you want. There is just total breakdown of the government. There is no government right now, as far as I'm concerned. Essentially now we have to look for solutions. If we want to continue with the same tactic, and if you think that's solving the problem, I disagree with that. I feel, and when I say I'm talking about PTI. In 2006, Imran was saying that we need to go in and have a dialogue simultaneously, because you have to talk. Otherwise, you're polarizing the whole situation. Now, 10 years later, 8 years later, we're talking about, all right, so maybe we should talk. Now, okay, thank God we're thinking in those lines also, because you have to find a solution to this. Listen, there is no line. It is a very porous situation. You go and say that this was Afghanistan and this was Pakistan, but the people were the same. Now, we've imported it in. This problem is now over our heads, and so now the Americans have become Taliban, I can't say Taliban Khan, they become Taliban friendly. All these parties that we're talking about are Taliban friendly, because we were called Taliban friendly when we were saying just let's talk to them. Let's engage them. Let's try to break it down. And as Nafeesa said, that we actually whenever there's a dialogue, there is a disruption also. Here we are talking about the drone attack the day the frontier government was taking over. Here we were talking about, let's get into a dialogue and discussion here. Let's try to see how to solve this problem. There you go, get a drone attack. Now, of course, the Taliban now say, hey, we're not going to talk to no one around here. So there's so many forces working. We, PTI, still feel that we have to resolve this issue. We have to conclude it, because right now Pakistan is in a state of breaking up at this rate.
If I may interject, in any war, regardless of how big or small, in any battle, any conflict, negotiation is always an option. And I don't think anybody here is Taliban friendly. I think everyone is admitting that, yes, we need to negotiate. And what, like Amir is saying very well, we negotiate, but let's get the parameters down. Are we at a position of weakness? Are we at a position of strength in this negotiation? And when you say that, business as usual, there was a drone attack which disrupts, well, like Ms. Shah said, your leaders are also being killed. People are also being killed. So I can say, well, that's a disruption as well. And that in itself is proof that they at least feel they are in a position of strength, and they say, oh, really? Let us show you. You want to negotiate with us? You come down on knees, or we'll start killing you. So where's the position of strength where we will actually go and negotiate? Negotiation is always an option.
Let me just first welcome everyone who feels that dialogue is also something which we should pursue. We have to have dialogue. So
that is not
very good. No, it was always a discussion. It was always a discussion.
And the thing is that, this dialogue thing, it's not something new. Previous Musharraf government has held 5 agreements with Taliban. 5 agreements. And those agreements were the results of dialogue. Right? And I'm talking about facts. It's not that PTI has come up with this brilliant idea that let's talk. No, Musharraf has tried that. It's not that the PML-N has come out with this idea. The thing is that whenever you go, whenever you negotiate from the position of weakness, and you have to appease those militants. And what happened in the end, that Pakistani state took the beating. And we were the ones who were, the Taliban, they managed to carry out their terrorist attack, not just in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, but they took it to Karachi as well. Mr. Mufti is saying that Punjab is silent. Yes, Punjab is silent because there they are recruiting their militants. They are not.
With apologies, if I may interject. When you compared KPTA or Karachi, I'd like to clarify, there's no difference in the two except for that geographically that is closer to the war and thus the initial influx. Otherwise, frankly, it's happening in Balochistan. It's happening everywhere.
And one last thing. One last thing. That is, what we feel sorry as journalists, as Pakistanis, as analysts, that none of the right-wing political parties and the religious parties, they never come out strongly against the Taliban whenever they carry out their, terror attacks. None of them is saying that they are defaming the sacred name of Islam.
The intelligent honesty is not there.
Yes, that is not there. And that is not jihad. What they are saying jihad, if anybody reads jihad, the philosophy of jihad, Islam is a moderate religion. Islam is a religion which believes in fairness. And it has laid down the rules of conflict and peace. Samar. And what the Taliban are doing, they are defaming Islam. And none of you have the moral courage to call a spade and say that what they are doing in the name of Islam is wrong.
I think first we have to get clear on what is Taliban.
Okay,
I think we're missing the boat here.
I'm short on time.
Very short, let me just tell you. This is a brand name. Like we have Coke for soft drink, Taliban is a brand for terrorism. That exists from Khyber to Karachi. There's more people dying in Karachi. The Taliban of Karachi, God knows who they are. But are they fighting a war in Afghanistan and killing people here in Liari? That is also Taliban. So listen, whether it's Balochistan, that's a Taliban. Whether it's in southern Punjab, that's a Taliban. Which Taliban are you talking? You think there's a 150?
That doesn't work. Specifically with religious extremism.
I need to be very careful.
We're not talking about Balochistan nationalist movement of Karachi.
When you talk about dealing with,
that's what Ms. Shah said. It's very complicated.
It is very complicated. Taliban, Islam. Listen.
Okay, I've got.
Where is the Islamic Taliban in Karachi?
I have 3 minutes. I need to give it to Miftah because he is getting uncomfortable in his chair. He wants to please go ahead, Miftah.
Well, you can see me. I was talking, you couldn't hear me, but I guess you could see me. Look, this is absolutely just wrong to say that we've not condemned Taliban. We've condemned Taliban wholeheartedly every time there's a suicide attack. Okay? There have been other religious parties or whatever, other right-wing parties who have maybe equated suicide bombings with drone attacks. We have never done so. Every time Taliban has done some atrocities, we have been the first to condemn that. I mean, so to suggest anything else is just not true. That's one thing. So, I mean, to say that we don't lack the moral courage to call a spade is just not true. But this is our war in the sense that our kids are dying. Look, I mean, no matter how it started, whether you can believe Samar Khan Saab's thesis or Nafeesa Shah's thesis, it doesn't really matter how it started. 50,000 Pakistanis are dying. Today another Pakistani legislator died, whether he belonged to independent, PTI, whatever. He's one of our people. We have to bring this war to an end. It doesn't really matter how it started. It doesn't really matter whose war it is. This is our people are dying and we have to finish this war. I don't really know what other way to finish this war other than to sit and please talk. If we can do it by then, why not try it? I don't understand what is the harm in this. Yes, he's right. Amir Saab is right that Musharraf Saab had these 5 tactical agreements, as the armed forces did with groups of Taliban in North Waziristan, South Waziristan, elsewhere. And many of these agreements have actually not held. That is true. We are aware of this. We will learn from these mistakes and start building on this. But I don't really see another point. People who say don't talk to us, well, tell us a way to do it. Okay? When people are saying define parameters, what parameters do you have? What choices do we have? Can we just bomb everybody else in tribal areas and kill everybody? Is that the choice? If that's not the choice, then let's just do it. And look, Taliban or whatever you call them, they're everywhere in Pakistan. This was just discovered. I mean, they're from Karachi, they are in Balochistan, Sindh, KPK, South Punjab, what have you. They're everywhere in Pakistan. We cannot, and these are our people, we cannot get them. When a 12-year-old boy is committing...
Okay, thank you, Miftah. Unfortunately, I've run out of time. I don't even have time for closing notes. Very quickly, I would just add this, that, right, with war, like I said, conversation is always an option. But with conversation, war is always an option. So, right, I would have to agree with Miftah. Personally, yes, let's try talking. If we fail, we can always fight again, God forbid. Like we've been fighting, and there's always an option for conversation. There's always a flip side. Thank you very much, all of you. My apologies, couldn't give you time for a closing note. Until next time, good night.